supposed to be the spiritual leader. I remember whenever I'm attend, because normally I'm asked to attend. Sometimes Ajahn Brahm can't do it, Ajahn Brahmali. And normally I have to represent Buddhist society to attend some of those multi-faith, interfaith, the kind of forums and things like that. I'm always ended up the only female, with all the men beside me. Sometimes, we have the Hinduism, Jewish, and Muslim, and Catholics, and Christian, Christianity. And then I'm the only one there, female. Because they don't have, a female leader, That's why sometimes it's so important to have the female, leader, Then actually it's help. Lots of women to start to develop their confidence, their faith in themselves. Because I remember when many years ago when I was in Thailand, and some of the Thai lady asked me, why you want to become a nun? Because to them, being a nun is something that is really low, something that someone is a failure, and someone sick, or someone failed, that not successful, or the marriage failure, or whatever. So when you become a nun, this is how people look at you. And then she asked me, you can practice as a layperson, why you want to become a nun? And I remember that many of them have that kind of perception, like women is being a bit inferior, and we are second class. I remember when I was in one of the nunnery, and then one monk visiting that nunnery is a Meiji place. I was practicing there. Then I was still a lay person. And then the monks put his bag outside the sala hall. And it was raining, started to rain. Then one of the major asked me, oh, the bag will get wet, So shall we move it? But it's a monk bag. Can we touch? I said, yes, of course you can touch. I said, grab it, I put it in. And the kind of, very superstitious, and women shouldn't do this and shouldn't do that, and women shouldn't touch the Buddha Rupa if you're having period, I said, no, this nonsense. I said, you can touch. And then even some people believe that if you offer to a monk, you have more merits. If you offer to a nun, you don't get that merits, And then even someone told me that I just give the benefit of doubt. Maybe this lady misinterpret or interpret what the monk said. He said to me that the monk said to her that because for them is you being born as a female actually is bad karma. This is what they believe, So they said, because of you have done something that you break the third precepts. That's why this life you're born as a female. I said that means how many billions of women that all break the same precepts that become, that they're born as a female. I said, is this ridiculous? It doesn't make sense to me. It's just nonsense, But because you've been told since a young age, you keep been telling that you are not as good as male, you are not as good as man because you are less. Actually we've been conditioned, we believe that, isn't it? We believe that we can. If we think that we can, we can't, And this is, it's a very difficult. I remember early days, when I started to practice, then, and when I decided to want to become a nun, I'm very difficult to find a place. And I started to go to Thailand, and I see that it's very difficult. There's no place for women. There's no place. They don't have the same training as a monk. Normally it's like Meiji, like 8 precepts. Meiji. You don't really consider nun. It's just a 8 preceptor, and then you always have to leaning against that depends on the monks. It's not independent. You have to depend on them. Have to cook for the monks. Have to do that. And I remember early days I was thinking, oh, it's so difficult. Then I keep telling myself, next life I'm not going to become. I don't want to become a female anymore. It's so difficult. And then each time when I meditate, after meditating, I make the expression, okay, next life, not to be a woman anymore, no more. Then I remember one day, I have to go out because of my passport. I need to sometimes I need to leave Thailand and come back again to stamp my passport again because of my visas. Then I have to go out to get my ticket, to go back, Then and I walked past and I saw a group of men gambling and drinking, Then I said, they're so close to the monastery. And yet, even they're so close, but they don't have the opportunities. They're so close to the Dharma, but they don't take these opportunities, to go to the temple, to practice, Then when actually that moment really hit me and woke me up. Then the moment I suddenly just think, oh, my goodness. I said, if I were to born as a man like them, then I'd rather to be a female like now. What I'm doing, at least now, I have the opportunities to practice, to listen to the Dharma, and I'll be able to have the opportunity to practice. But if I born as what's the point being a man, then I don't have the opportunity to practice. Then I realized that actually I'm really good karma. That it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. And I realized you see a lot of advantages of being a female practitioner. Because sometimes I know sometimes I talk to some of the monks, actually there are lots of pressure as well. Because most people, especially in Thailand, they always look up to the monks, The monks sometimes have lots of pressure because they are also human beings. Even though they're monks, they also just, they're still walking the path. They still have defilements. They still have to work on the defilements. They're still human beings. But you've been treated like you're God, They look up to you. Actually, they feel really, give them lots of pressure. Sometimes they feel really bad if they have any defilements kicked out. You can't help it because we are not enlightened yet, Of course, we have defilements. But for us, it's okay. People don't look up to us. We have no pressure. Sometimes I start to see the advantages of that. And then being a female, it's okay that you cry. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to suppress that I don't cry, It's easy. I just cry. Crying actually is good. When you cry, you release all the tension. You release all the emotion. That's why we have tears. So the tears there is not for nothing. There is a reason why we have tears. Actually, it's a way to release our emotion. So I told some of the retreatants here, and a few years ago, I attended a conference in Canberra in Australia, and that session is about all the suicides, and we have speakers, and she's in the helpline, and she said according to the statistic, the suicide rate is very high for male from 16 to 36 or something like that. It's very, very high. And because of male is always you have to be the one very strong. You have to be really, like Chinese, a man, you can only shed blood but not tears. And sometimes you can't, sometimes you have to be strong in front of everybody. No, man also is a human being. There's nothing wrong with crying. That's why I always encourage even my son. I said, you can cry. My grandson said, please, you can cry. If you feel like crying, cry. You're a human being. Nothing wrong with that. But because of we've been brought up, we've been conditioned, we've been told that this is right, this is wrong. But actually, it's just and sometimes that when we are not, when we do something that is not the norm, we've been see as we are abnormal. Actually it's not abnormal. It's just doesn't. It's like the Buddha said. Like in general, we make decisions based on 3 standards. The first one is majority doing it, then must be right. Doesn't mean that majority doing it is right, isn't it? Like drinking alcohol is socially acceptable. But of course, the drinking itself, the act, is not immoral by itself. But after the alcohol, the effect of that, you break all the other precepts. That's why we train ourselves not rather, because we don't know how little is little. Some people say, oh, I just drink a little bit, So how little is little? Maybe my little is, my perception of little maybe just tiny bit. Your little might be just whole cup, this big, And then rather than we not to drink it, isn't it? So because it's, and doesn't mean that, and also another thing, like for example, copyright. See, people copy everything without, and actually, we are stealing. We're copying things that you are not being given. Copyrights. People think that it's okay because many people doing it. It's okay. So people think that steal a little bit is okay. But no matter you steal $1, $2, $3, $100, $1,000, or 10, a million, it's still stealing, isn't it? The act itself, I remember there was a little boy. So he was in the school, and he took his friend's pencils, and then the parents, the father was being asked to see the principals, and he was informed that his son has taken someone pencils. Then when he went back, he was so upset with his son. He's telling the son off, how come you do that? This is something that is unacceptable, how horrible. You shouldn't do that. I'm ashamed of you that you took your friend's pencil. Next time, if you want pencil, please let me know. I will get it for you from the office. So this is how we try to justify it, isn't it? Stealing is stealing, it's not the amount, isn't it? Then after I remember when I said that, one of the nuns next day said to me, I have to confess, yesterday I took a pencil. And then they said, sometimes this is how the respect, even our sibling, our loved one, our brothers and sisters, doesn't mean that there are things we can just take without asking, isn't it? We have to ask, can I have this? Can I give it to me? And that's kind of respect, It's a kindness. You just don't assume that it's okay. Just because you are my brother, you are my sister, you are my sibling, it's okay that I can take your thing without asking, Then actually it's stealing. We cannot justify because we are taking something that is not given. And this is how we tend to justify, That doesn't mean that everybody doing it is right. So, and then the second standard, that people base on, they don't care. As long as I like it, whether it's going to cause other people suffering, I don't care. As long as I'm happy, And the third one is, this is the wise one. The Buddha said, whatever the person do, they will consider. Is it going to have any impact on others? Is it for the well-being of for my own well-being and also the well-being of others? It's not harming others. So after they consider that, they're based on that standard. So not causing any harm to others and to themselves, and for the own well-being and the well-being of others, So that's why the Buddha said this is a three standard people based on, So that's why. And doesn't mean that everybody doing it is correct, So that's like what we think that is fair, what we think is right, And also perverted by our perception, What you think that is fair may not be really fair for others. Your perception of fairness is different from others, Some, because it's all perverted by our likes and dislikes, For example, if the person that you dislike, you don't think that it's fair to deserve things, they're terrible, I don't like them, I don't like this person, I don't think they deserve it, you think that it's unfair, how come such a terrible person, just because you don't like that person, so that's what you think that is fair is also sometimes we are biased, what suits us, so we think that, what is fair, to you is not fair, to other people might not think that it's fair. So fairness is not like try to make everybody the same. Especially nowadays, these people try to be politically correct. Correct, they try to be correct, and especially some, even some spiritual leader, they say, all the religion, they're all the same. But actually, it's not the same. Isn't it? It's not the same. But we do have the common ground. We share some of the commons. Like, for example, like kindness, compassion, generosity. Yes, and meditation also. Yeah, other religion also they meditate. But the different things that the Buddhists taught about non-self rebirth, and actually it's different. You know. But we do share. We have the common grounds as well. That's why we focus on the common grounds. So we respect the differences. Is okay. We are different, and not to impose our values. Our views on others. Just because other people different from us. So we respect the differences. Most people. When you disagree with me, that means you are against me. No. I had the experience when I disagree with something and the other person think that I'm against them. To me, it's not about the person. It's because when I look at the things that I disagree, okay, I disagree this idea. It's not a good idea. It's not because of that person. It's because of I look at the feasibility, the sustainability, whether it's necessary, the necessity. So that's also I disagree. It's not because I dislike you, because I disagree with that person doesn't mean that the person is wrong. So, but a lot of people perceive as you disagree with me, that means I'm wrong, you are right. If I agree with you, that means, it's also against come from our sense of self, our ego. Because if someone agree with us, we are very happy we like that person, isn't it? Because it's again reaffirm our views that I'm right. This is our sense of our ego. We attach to our views, so we are same. In Thailand, they used to say same. Yeah. Doesn't mean that, and then people different from us, we think that they are wrong. No, it's just that we come from different perspective. I remember there was a rabbi, and there's that person, a man, went to him, and then this guy was there, and he'd been observing the whole situation, and then the person A, the first man A, and complaining to the rabbi about the person B, how terrible he's doing this, and then the rabbi said, "You're right." And then the person B come to complain to the rabbi about the person A, and then the rabbi said, "You are right." And then and then this person come up to the rabbi and said, "Why? This person come to you complain, you say he is right, and this person come to complain, you say you are right." And then the rabbi turned to him, "You are right too." Sometimes it's not right or wrong, isn't it? We come from a different perspective, Like sometimes I used to tell nuns, I said sometimes that they come to us, some of the requests, the reason why I said no, because of sometimes when they come to me, they're only based on themselves, their own self-interest, But sometimes I have to think of the rest of the nuns. I have to have the bigger picture in mind. Because if I said yes to one person, I have to say yes to everyone. So I have to, sometimes I can't set the precedence. It's not because I don't like you, it's because I dislike you. Because if I said no to your request, doesn't mean that I don't like you. And sometimes I said yes to the other person, doesn't mean that it's a favoritism, I like this person more. So sometimes I have to consider, I have to have the bigger picture in mind. What is the impact on others? What will be happen? I have to keep the bigger picture in mind. But normally we tend to take it personally. And then that's why we try to make everybody the same. We are not the same, But fairness actually giving everybody the same opportunities. Sometimes we just need to have the opportunities. Like, for example, we have to have opportunities to practice, Like, for example, we are very lucky in Dhammasara because we are independent. Ajahn Brahm normally he hardly come. So because he didn't want us to develop that kind of like to rely on him. So we are independent. We make our own decision. We do our own thing. But of course, I respect him. Sometimes when I see him, so I still ask some of his feedback, or I will ask his how do he see things, and I will ask his comments, on some of the things. I know, like for example, like our complex, then we have a library. So he look at our plan, he write a big sentence there, he put a cross there. He said, useless building. To him, he said, having library there, and then the nuns like to, like after your nuns will like to hang out there, having coffee club and things like that. I think those who come to stay in the monastery, then our nuns very good, they don't do that. So that's why he think that is useless. And actually, I didn't listen. I still have I mean, I'm open to any criticism or constructive criticism or, suggestion. I'm open to that. But ultimately, we still, because we are living there. It's not the monk who live there. We are not, yes, I respect Ajahn Brahm, but we don't blindly just listen to what he said. Whatever he said, we say, oh yeah, it's because Ajahn Brahm said so. No. So we have to use our own wisdom, our own discretion, to be really independent, to use our own wisdom. We are the one who living there. It's not Ajahn Brahm. So yes, we respect him. It's not that we don't respect him, but also we don't blindly just believe because of, like in the Kalama Suttas, just because of he's more senior, just because of this person, that we well respected. But we also always come back to ourselves, use our own discretion, what we need. And then we find it very useful to have the library, and we don't. Actually, Dhammasara don't have coffee club. The nuns, I think some of you stay here, isn't it? It just means stay there, You hardly see any nuns, isn't it? They're all after dana finished, they will all disappear. All go back to the kuti disappear, And it's like and it's like because I know I have a lot of confidence, trust in all the nuns, because I trust them and I really believe them, I really trust them. They all have the sincerity, the willingness, and to take on this rope, become the monastic, That's why I trust them. I know that they won't do it, There's sometimes you have to have the trust. If you don't have the trust, and also the trust that I given, the trust that I have the trust in the nuns, actually is given them the confidence in themselves. If you are not trusted, if you feel that you've been trusted, it's helped you. You give you the confidence in yourself that, yeah, I can do it. If you always think that you're not sure, you always have to check on that person whether you're doing the right thing. And you make the person feel that they are not capable, that they don't have the ability to do that. And then that actually is very damaging, So I trust them. So that's why, So we are very fortunate to be given the opportunities. So the way our monastery is set up, the way our whole system actually is help us to be able to uphold all the bhikkhunis rules. Because you have to be able to uphold the rules. What's the point you take up this ordination if you're unable to uphold all the rules, isn't it? So it's no point, but, having so many precepts, but actually you can't keep it, If you can keep it, make sure we can keep it. So that's why we are very fortunate to have the condition that we need that to uphold our precepts, to be able to live the monastic life, especially being a bhikkhunis, because it's very rare. Ajahn Brahm used to say we have to preserve this bhikkhuni because it's a very rare species in the world. Isn't it? He always said, how many people have put their ambitions there, when you fill up the form, my ambitions become a monk, my ambitions become a nun. Normally he said there are enough doctors, there are enough engineers, there are enough other profession, but nuns and monks is very, very rare. I mean, that is only 0.00 something percent, isn't it? How many people want to do this thing, I know some people have that kind of misperception, thinking that because all these monks and nuns, they are really lazy, they're good for nothing, they just don't want to work Actually, they don't know how a monastic life actually is a difficult job. It's inner work actually is harder than the outside work. The inner work actually is harder than hard. And if being a monastic, we're being constantly forced to face yourself, to really look at yourself. And whether you like it or not, you have to face it. You have to look at yourself. And it's not an easy job. It's easier to do work, than to really sit, not to do anything is very difficult. Because it's the most difficult thing, and people think that it's easy job, we're not working. And those who stay in the monastery, they know, and nuns also work hard, We work hard too, we also hard, we also just like anyone else, So, and also the practice, and also it's also being the role model, and because we provide the environments for people come to the monastery, and they get inspired. And some people are going through a lot of difficulties in their life. When they come to the monastery, they find lots of peace. Sometimes they need that. They need to remove themselves from the usual situations. They come to the monastery. They actually give them the peace, and then they feel much better because we need to get out. Then we provide these environments, this at the peace. That's why. Yes, if we help someone hungry, yes, we feed them tomorrow, they're still hungry, But the peace that we offered, that from to the society, to those who come to the monastery, actually is priceless. You cannot buy peace, isn't it? Even you have lots of money, even you're a billionaire, you cannot use money to buy peace, That's why it's something that we very rare and really priceless that we can offer to the society. The same to all of you here. When you practice, you become more peaceful, calm. Actually, this is something that you can offer, to the society. And people come to you, they feel the peace and the calm, they feel inspired, and they like to be with you because they feel that the calmness, the peacefulness is there, and this is something that you can offer, that through your practice, being a virtuous person, and you inspire others, and not to underestimate that, That's why a lot of people think that equality, then everybody, have to do the same thing, treated the same way. For example, okay, so I give you an apple, you should have an apple. But you don't like apple, you like orange, But no, you can't have orange because she having apple, you should have apple. No, isn't it? Imagine, we try to make everybody the same. Life will be so boring. Everybody the same, doing the same thing, isn't it? It's more interesting. We have difference, It's just like an orchestra, we have different instruments, but you have a beautiful music, isn't it? From a different instruments, So it's okay. We respect the differences. We don't try to impose our ideas, a perception, our views on others that, you have to be the same. We have to treat everybody the same. So that's why this is important. That a lot of people get mixed up. They thought that equal, Then we are not trying to. We are not competing with the monks. We are not competing that we want to be better than them. No, we just asking for the same opportunity as the monk. That's all we want. It's not that we want to be having the status and competing with the monks. See who is better. No, it's none of that. We just want to. We just asking, to be given the same opportunity as the monks. So fairness is not about making everybody the same and doing the same thing and impose on others that we have to be the same, then only is equal. No. But to respect the differences, but giving the other person the same opportunity. So I offer this for Dharma reflection. May this teaching be of benefit to all of you. So any questions or comments?
All right, now is the Q&A session. If you have questions, please just raise your hand. I'll pass the mic to you. Okay.
Thank you. for today's session. My question is, how do we face those people who are politically correct, who think that for example, stealing is justifiable, you see. What they are doing is, even though it's a wrong thing, but it's justifiable in their brain. So they don't see the harm that they have done to others people and cause unfairness to other people. So how do we as a person like deal with this kind of people, you see?
Okay. So the only thing we can deal with these people, that to reflect on the karma, that actually they are the one who have to bear the consequences of their own actions. So we are not the one who have to bear the consequences of the other person's actions. So we reflect on that. Then we have compassion towards that person. And because it's very difficult to change others unless they have realized it themselves, it's one of the ways that we can do to develop that kindness, compassion, and forgiveness. So sometimes we can look at it that way. For example, sometimes, when I have difficulties in life, and especially sometimes people giving me hard time, then I used to remind myself, thank you for giving me the opportunities to practice forgiveness, practice kindness and compassion. And that's the only way, because, we can't change them. And they have to come from themselves. They have to realize it themselves, rather than, we go on and on thinking about how bad the person is, and actually be poisoning our mind. And actually it's not really good for our own well-being. And we have compassion towards them, that, they, actually, ultimately, they are the one who suffer. It's not us, Is it, does make sense to you? Answer your questions? Okay.
Second question, Venerable.
Thank you, Venerable. I have a question here, but I just read from a saying by a famous British novelist, playwright, and poet by the name of William Golding. He said, "I think women are not wise to pretend they are equal to men." That's what he said. Okay? But then hear the next part. They are far superior and always have been. Wherever you give a woman, she will make it greater. If you give her romantic love, she will give you a baby. If you give her a house, she will give you a home. If you give her grocery, she will give you a meal. If you give her a smile, she will give you her heart. She multiply and enlarge what is given to her. So, if you give her crap, be prepared to receive a ton of shit. So what do you think what he says is right?
It's actually just I can't really say whether it's right or wrong. It's just that how you look at things. It's just the perceptions, how we perceive things, and we never judge others. Where's the person coming from? And I remember I heard one of the saying. He said, a successful man is a man that can earn so much money that the wise can't spend all, there's so much money, lots of money the wife can't even finish, spending the money, So then there's a successful woman is a woman can find such a man. Isn't it? I remember I asked someone, what is the difference between complete and finish? Complete is like, till you married, it's just like you married to a wonderful, very nice, a perfect, a lovely, sweet wife, or a wonderful husband. It's really perfect. Everything is so nice. Then it's complete. So if you married a husband or a wife that is really horrible, is really terrible, is nasty, then you are finished. Yeah, that's, and And I know I remember that there's someone told me someone told me a joke and the wife, was so busy. I haven't just wake up, quite late, still in her pajamas and things like that. And then the husband rushed back that, I already invited my friends, come for dinner, and then, we have to prepare dinner for my friends. I already invited him. So then because of last minute, the wife did not expect that they're going to have guests, Then the wife said, you should have told me earlier. You said, I haven't do my hair, I have to prepare a dinner and I have no time to dress up myself, Why you ask him to come now? You should have let me know earlier. Because he told me that he's going to get married. That's why that he want to let the person know how is it like after marriage, this is sometimes we have a lot of problem. Like if people come to me with relationship problems, I think the biggest mistake that most people make is that they try to change the husband or wife to the shape them, to mold them to the ideal husband, ideal wife they want, And actually, you're bound to be disappointed, That's why before you enter in the relationship, you have to ask yourself, can I accept this person as the person is, as a whole thing? Of course, we have shortcoming, isn't it? So we have to accept the person as the person is. Not that the shortcoming have to deduct out, exclude. I only want this bit, So I have to change. You have to change all your habit to suit me. But we ourselves also have our shortcoming, isn't it? So it's easily that we can see the shortcoming of others. We don't see our own shortcoming. So that's it. If you truly love the person, you love the person as the person is. I remember one of our supporters, and she said, I'm so worried about my daughter. And she's now into Islam and to become a Muslim. I said, what's wrong with that? If that makes her happy, if she wants to become a Muslim, this is her life. As long as she's happy, I said, what's wrong? Nothing wrong. So you still love her as she is, even though she's a different religion. It's okay. As long as this is what she wants to do, and this makes her happy. So if you truly love if you truly love your child, you love your child as your child is. Not that you have to be a Buddhist, you have to follow my way, you have to have the same religion, you have to do my way, then I will love you. If you don't follow my way, I don't love you. And they said this is how, that's a true love, unconditional love. We love the person as the person is. So any questions or comments?
All right, any more? Okay. Hold on.
Thank you, Venerable, for your
Okay.
talk. You mentioned earlier about people taking things without asking and assuming that they have a right to take as and when they want. How do we deal with these people in a Buddhist way? How should our reaction be?
Okay. So the Buddhists talk about right speech. So not right silent. So a lot of people think that, I'm a Buddhist, I shouldn't say anything. No, it doesn't mean that we are Buddhists, we have to be stupid, and we should keep our mouth shut, shouldn't say anything, shouldn't stand up for ourselves. No, we can stand up for ourselves, but we have to, the Buddha talk about the right speech. That is, you have to fulfill the 5 conditions. So you have to find the right time, right place. Then we have to get the facts right, whether it's true. Sometimes we don't jump into conclusion. Sometimes what we think, what we see might not be what we think, isn't it? So we have to find out whether it's true, whether this person is doing this. Sometimes people too fast, they jump into conclusion and then they see something and then immediately they link to, the other incidents, and then immediately they jump into conclusion. That's it. This person doing it. Maybe not the person is not doing it. It's just like for us, like for the monastic, like Bhikkhuni, we have that if anyone doing anything, we think that the person commits a serious offense, then the person have to be present. We have to ask. The Buddha always asks, did you do it? They have to be given. The person, we cannot just straight away without asking person, without finding out whether it's a fact, whether it's true. Then we already jump in the conclusion, and then we already, sentence the person imprisonment. Doing it, So then sometimes you have to find out first whether, and then we have to fulfill the condition is that is it out of kindness or compassion or just out of ego. Sometimes we just out of ego that we just want to, I just let you know that you are wrong. Come from the big ego. Whether it's come from kindness or compassion. And then whether is it beneficial to that person. If you find that the person really block off, no matter what you said, the person is not going to listen, that is not beneficial. Maybe sometimes you said it, the person will get very angry and upset with you. Then you have to stop. No point. And then the fifth one, the words that we use, whether it's a kind words, whether it's pleasing to the ears or not harsh, sometimes maybe it's true, maybe the right place, but the way we said it, is pretty harsh, and sometimes if you hurt the other person's feelings when the words that we use is harsh. So the Buddha said, it has to be gentle and pleasing to the ears, and then if fulfill the 5 conditions, we can say, So there's a lot of people think that freedom of speech that we can say whatever we like. No, we have to consider the 5, if fulfill the 5 conditions, then you find that it's fulfill the 5 conditions. You can tell the person. So if you tell the person do not accept that, you just have to leave it to the person. You already done your bit, but you already do your best. So that's why sometimes life is like that. Sometimes we can't change others people, and then the whole the life is actually beyond control. That we can't sometimes that we cannot change them. So all we can do is to accept the way the person is. Because if we go on and on thinking that how terrible the person is, actually we are creating suffering for ourselves, And of course, we also receive all the criticism, from others. And then the same thing, we ask ourselves, what the person said, whether it's true. If sometimes we receive criticism, we investigate, we ask ourselves, maybe there is a tint of truth in that, Then we investigate, we reflect, to see whether maybe the person said it's true. We just open, to that. But if we find out that no, it's just because the person just like to criticize. And some people, they're just a habit of that, like to criticize, they just like to complain, Then you know that no, it's nothing, you after investigate, after you have reflect and contemplate on that, you realize, okay, it's just that person just being negative, Then you just, okay, you have nothing, haven't done anything harm to that person, then you always go back to us and ask ourselves, just to be honest to ourselves, that, if we haven't done anything, if someone accuses us, so we can't help it. So the Buddha said, this is the 8 worldly wind. You have praise, you have criticism, you have praise, you have blame. You cannot avoid that. It's, you're bound to get blame for someone else. But as long as we know for ourselves that we haven't done that, and sometimes it's difficult, you can't even explain, When you try to clarify, you try to explain, they said that you try to cover it up, you try to justify. And you keep quiet, they say, oh, you admit it. So whatever you said is not right. In one of the suttas also, the Buddhas also mentioned the monks, when the monks keep quiet and then people complain, the monks don't say anything, keep quiet, How this monk, I asking me question, why you don't say anything, why you keep quiet, Then after the other monks, explain to him in detail, why this monk talk so much. Then another monk talk little. Why this monk talk so little? So sometimes whatever you do, it's not right, you know. Sometimes we just have to let it be. It's part of life, you know. And you know, if you accepted that, if this is part of life, what do you expect? We don't expect anything more. It's normal. This part of life, ups and downs. Sometimes we have praise, sometimes we have criticism. We cannot just expect praise and no criticism, you know. So yeah, this is you just have to find the right place, right time, you know. If you can say something, you can. So we can only do our best, you know, to try to stand up and stood up for ourselves. We stand up for ourselves and we speak up for ourselves. But if the other party don't want to listen or they're not accepting it, it's fine. It's just like, I think some of you, I mean, the retreatants here, they know that one of my supporters that she told me that she really bothered because of she has said something that is not very nice to her dancing partner. Then she's apologized, you know, and asked for forgiveness from her dancing partner. She's went for this dancing class, and she said that this guy wouldn't forgive her and still got very angry and upset with her, and then she got she got very bothered, you know. She really, you know, she said it's really bothering me because I already apologized. I already asked for forgiveness. Why can't he forgive me? Then I look at her. I said, why should he forgive you? Isn't it? It's up to him. He decided not to forgive you. It's his problem. But you did, you know, you did your part. You know, we can only do our best. You know, so we cannot force a person to forgive you. So because actually the person cannot forgive you, the person suffer. It's not you suffer, isn't it? Because you hold on and on and on, cannot forgive. Actually, who is the one who suffer? So if the person choose to suffer, so okay, the person choice. They want to hold on to that, cannot forgive, want to suffer, so the person choice, you know. So I said, it's okay. If the person cannot forgive you, it's fine, you know. So sometimes we can only do our best, okay? Is there any more questions?
Okay.
One more questions?
Thank you, Venerable. So I'm wondering about activism within the monastic community and whether is it okay or not okay for monastics to be activistic about a particular cause, whether it's about gender equality or politics. Is there anything in the suttas that talk about this? And I also wonder whether it could be viewed as a form of attachment. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So actually for a monastic, we are not supposed to involve in politics. That is one of the unwholesome act. So we don't involve in politics. We are not supposed to. That's why we don't even vote. That's why in like Australia, when we have, because it's compulsory, you have to vote. If they don't vote, they will fine you, but not much, it's $20, you know. But we've been exempted because each year we will write a letter that because of our precepts, because we don't involve in that, so we normally, as a monastic, we don't vote. Then we ask for exemption, then actually we always exempted. We don't have to pay the fine. But it's just every 4 years we have to write the letter to the electoral that this is the reason why we don't vote. We don't, you know, so we don't involve in that. Because the Buddha said that is because we already live, you know, left home into the monastic life, so we are living the unworldly way of life, you know. So that's why all the worldly things we have to leave behind. So we actually we discourage. The Buddha said we don't get involved in all the worldly activities, especially politics. So it's one of the unwholesome acts. The Buddha said is not to involve in politics. Okay. Is there any more questions or comments?
And maybe last question, if any.
In that case, why is there this monk in Myanmar who is very like political and he's doing a lot of nationalistic, movement against the Rohingyas and all that? Why nothing is done about him actually?
Okay, it's just like just now you all have taken up, the 5 precepts, according to the Buddhist teaching, the 5 precepts. So the 5 precepts is there. It's up to you whether you want to take it. We can't, it's for example, people come to me, oh, why this monk, that nuns, they can do this and do this. I said, the precepts is there, like the 5 precepts is there. It's up to you whether you want to take it. It's up to you. And if they don't want to follow, they don't want to take it, what can I do? What can we do? It's just up to them. The Vinaya is there, the rule is there. So if monks and nuns don't follow, don't keep it, it's just an individual choice, Yeah, so we just, of course, we disagree with that we disagree. We don't judge them, but we do disagree with the action. But with the people, we still have compassion with the people. So we just disagree with that's the action that you involve in the politics, because as a monastic, we don't involve in politics. But of course, you always find, we have scallywags, monks or scallywags, nuns, You always find that. That's why we don't judge. Like, for example, like Australians nowadays, they have these pedophiles, that some of the priests are doing this, but we don't judge. Doesn't mean that it's only small minority people doing it, but most of the priests are very good. We don't judge, isn't it? Say, oh, no good. Just because of the minority people doing this, and then we said everybody is bad. No. So even during Buddha's time also, you bound to have some, those scary monks or nuns, and we just have compassion towards them, I don't know whether this answer your questions and makes sense to you. Any more questions or comments?
I think we are just at the right time to end the morning session, Venerable.
Okay.
So probably before we close, Venerable could lead us in the sharing of merits.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do the akasata. Okay. Akasata cha bummata devanaga mahetika punyantam anamoditva jiram rakhantu lokasasanang akasata cha bummata devanaga mahetika punyantam anamoditva jiram rakhantu desanang akasata cha bummata devanaga mahetika punyantam anamoditva jiram rakhantu mam paramti ettavata chammehi sampatham punya sampatham sape deva anumodantu sapa sampatti siddhya ettavata chammehi sampatham punya sampatham sape buddha anumodantu sapa sampatti siddhya ettavata chammehi sampatham punya sampatham sape satta anumodantu sapa sampatti siddhya. Do you want to share merits with the disease? Idam me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idam me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idam me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. That's the end.
Thank you very much, Venerable, for the Dharma sharing this morning. Brothers and sisters, before Sister Jocelyn lead Venerable Hasapanna and Venerable Amarawati to go for the lunch dana, we shall pay our respect first by bowing 3 times.